this has brought me to the forefront of life happens now.
Mm.
Like whatever you're worrying about in the past or whatever you might be haunted by within the past, get it done and be done with it. Because right now is everything, because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Welcome to Heal, a podcast about the real stories of what it takes to heal. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Marshall, naturopathic physician, published author, and psychedelic integration guide. What does it really take to heal? We sit down for raw, authentic conversations from science to spirit, trauma to transformation. If you want to learn more, go to my website, sarahmarshallnd.com, and sign up for my newsletter, where I share my most cutting edge new thinking, what I'm seeing right now in the research and in my clinical practice. So you're getting the most up-to-date information, practical tools in your inbox. Check us out, join us, and enjoy the show. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Maria. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm thrilled. I just appreciate your generosity and kindness and compassion to bring your story to the Heal audience.
Well, Sarah, I am so grateful to you on many levels, and I'm so grateful to be here. And I'm honored that you would ask me to be a part of your podcast. I have my story, and so many people have their stories, and I'm happy and excited to share, what I've gone through and how you've helped me, and my future prospects, things that I'm looking forward to, things like that. So
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And we're going to dive right in here. And one of my favorite kinds of episodes to do on Heal is people telling their own journey and their own story. Like, that's so important that we share our stories and people don't feel alone inside of this, and they get new possibilities, things they maybe haven't thought of, and also to also recognize, like, oh my gosh, there's more out there like me. And I think we're doing a better job of that as a society, but it's still good to hear. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is like the $1,000,000 question, which is, where do we start? And on one hand, it's like, okay, you've been through this cancer journey with triple negative breast cancer, and that, like, we could be like, here's the diagnosis and here's the thing. But I'm
Yeah.
actually going to dive in a little bit in the middle. And I want to start with the question, what has been the most surprising thing to you about this whole process?
Hmm. I think the thing that surprised me was the amount of giving that came to me
Hmm.
from my community.
Yeah.
And that's also been not only the most surprising, but also the most difficult for me. I'm a giver, and I really, I'm fine with giving everything. I grew up Catholic, and my mom was like, if someone asks for your shirt, you give it to them. And that it kind of marinated itself into my bones and being. And if you meet any of my family members, and there's a bunch of us, we're all kind of like that. We all want to just give. So when this happened to me and everything started kind of flipping upside down, and I felt so unstable and insecure and not sure what was going to happen and what the future held for me. Honestly, like, I was shocked at how much, like, I'm going to get teared up right away off the bat just thinking about how the community came together on so many levels. My dance community, my art community, my family, like general public, just friends that I've met in my medieval reenactment community, all the different areas of my bizarre world that I live in. I couldn't believe how much of an impact that I've had on them. And for them to give so much of themselves, their art, their money, I mean, that's hard. That's, even saying that is hard for me to say it, because it's like, I mean, as unfortunately living in this world and in this nation, it's really hard to have that medical care. And so Yeah, I mean, I've that receiving that was really difficult, and it was also shocking and amazing. And I'm learning every day, and I'm still learning right now to receive. And my good friend B came to me after a fundraiser recently and he grabbed my hands and looked me directly in my eyes and said, "I am Maria, and I am worthy to receive." And she made me repeat that 3 times, and I just was bawling. It was just this, like, crazy thing. So I guess, yeah, that is the most, surprising and, transformative too at the same time, because it's helping me understand there's more to it than the giving, which I've been doing. So, yeah,
That's
it's why.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. It makes me think of a yoga teaching that I got one of my 10,000 yoga classes where they talked about in every yoga pose there has to be an equal balance of 50% effort and 50% relaxation. So
Mm.
50% giving, 50% receiving to your body as you're moving through, and that's actually where you're looking to find your balance in each asana. And then I would use that as analogy in health of like our bodies and our health requires us to have 50% exertion and 50% relaxation, to have 50% nourishment and 50% detoxification. And of course the 50-50 is kind of, it comes and goes at different times, but if we've been 80% output and 20% input, at some point the body kicks our ass. It comes
100.
back and it's like, you sit the fuck down. No more, sit down.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. If we're since we're talking percentages, 100%, and it describes me because I put out a lot of light. I put out a lot of energy. I put out a lot of you know, and I recognize that. And but it is hard. It is hard to do that dance. And everything has that balance, that dance of the 50 the 50 like you said. And especially when you're lopsided or out of balance or in one area of your life like intensely on that one thing, even if it's a good thing like giving, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a mom, right? I'm a mom of 2 children, 2 amazing beautiful children, and I will give everything to them, right? I will give everything to them. And receive that is actually probably one of the most difficult places to receive, because I just want
Mm.
to give and support and take care, and they really get at receiving that because they know they need it. They need it. They're my babies, and but it is hard. It's hard to find that balance, and otherwise you just get burned out. And I've learned that time and time again, and definitely probably contributed to me breaking down and lowering my immunity and getting this cancer in my life. I mean, my body was warning me about a year before my diagnosis. I was pushing myself in every level, and I was having issues, and my period was starting. My whole life it was very regular, and all of a sudden it started being weird, and I'm like, well, perimenopause, which also is a possibility. But I also was nobody else in my family ever had perimenopause that early, and I just felt like something was off, and I felt like I was just saying yes to everyone and everything. And I felt like I was starting to really see it in my body physically. And it was a lesson for me. Like, that's part of what Maria 2.0 is now, is learning how to receive, one, which we just talked about, and say no sometimes whenever it doesn't work. I don't have to say yes all the time. I'm a yes person, was a yes person, and I don't want to be a no person for sure. But I do want to learn how to be able to balance that, and that is a challenge for me, big challenge for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard again, one of my coaches said to me, whenever we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. And to
Mm,
actually be responsible for that, and not that that's a problem, but actually like honor it and own it and be like, when I do say yes to this, it means something else. If I say yes to my dance community and I say yes to this event and I say yes to that event, what might I be saying no to my family, or what am I saying no to myself? And to actually evaluate that in our decision making versus the way I used to always determine it was, do I have white space on my calendar? Is there literal, like, technically I haven't designated what time that is. And so then I started to go to work on, I put things on my calendar that is not an appointment. I put sleep on my calendar. I put lunch on my calendar. Like, I literally
Yeah.
have an 8 hour block of sleep on my calendar. And
Yeah.
then if I'm traveling and I'm going to multiple different, when I change time zones, I have to actually grapple with, like, okay, this has got to get moved around and pay attention to it. And it's not like I am like, oh, my calendar says at 10:15 I have to go to bed. It doesn't work for me like that, but it's like, I can't pretend that that's not something in my life and that I don't have to grapple with it. And so, there's recognition of the 146 hours a week that we have to work with. And then when we try and fit 223 hours worth of shit into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. I'm gonna steal that from you. I like that idea because I'm ADD and self-diagnosed, and also my therapist thinks so. And it's really hard for me to stay focused. And a lot of the issues I have with saying yes are because of it's right in front of me and I'm
Mm-hmm.
having a gut first response to it. And I'm like, yes. And then later I'm like, why did I do that? And because I didn't think of when there's a yes, there's a no somewhere else. Right. And so like that's really hard for me to think. That's like playing chess and like thinking two steps ahead.
Yeah, there's
Like
a lot of different parts and pieces
I'm
moving
so
around
much
for it.
better at
Yeah,
checkers.
yeah. Can we stop with the chess? Can we just play checkers? That would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
it's a training to be able, it's a training the mind to be able to
Yeah.
think like ahead and like, hey, listen, you're saying yes now. Before you say yes, you might want to think what that yes is going to do. And and that's hard for me to do that because I am a live in the moment kind of spontaneous type of person. And
Mm.
there's drawbacks to that. There's good things to that for sure. I'm very like creative and I love being in the flow in the moment. And there's times that is really great that I have that skill and that muscle that's developed. But and you've seen me, you've been in those spaces, I think, with me. But like then other times, like it's not so great. Like I need to be able to stop and think of those no's I'm saying,
Whatever
telling
you might
me
be saying no to. So here's
exactly.
another one I'll just give you while we're on the subject is, because a lot of times when I'm saying yes, it's also because the person who's asking is somebody I love and adore, and I want to do that thing. I really actually genuinely would love to do it. I'd love to be a yes. I'd love to create whatever. So I actually will tell them the truth, which is, I want to say yes to this. Instead of just saying yes, I just say, I want to say yes to this. And I need to get back to you in 24 hours. I need to, whatever that is, of like, I'll give myself a little buffer. It's sort of like
Mhm.
impulse purchasing, like leave it in your cart for 72 hours before you hit the buy now button, right? So you can be
That's
like,
it.
I want to say yes to this and I'm putting you in my cart. I'm not sure I'm purchasing, and I get the ADHD, ADD part, which is then how do you track that, which takes a
Yeah.
little bit of structure, right?
Yep.
There's lots of ways to do it where you could like write a note, you could put it in something. But what I also love to do is put the responsibility on the other person. If they want something from me, I'll tell them, I want to say yes to this. So here's what I need from you. You have to text me this information so I don't lose track of it. And then I need you to follow up with me about it.
I
So
love that.
I'm not the one, but I'm like, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to try and see if I can work it out. But it's also, and then usually they're the ones asking you, can you teach this class? Can you come and dance for us? Can you be at our next party? Can you come, all those things. And you actually are able to make sure that you're looking for real, and you're not, because that's the other thing with those of us that are caretakers and givers. And yes, we will
Yes.
say yes, then we will manage that they get the information they need and we'll keep track of all of it for them, but they're the ones asking for something from us. And it's like turning that around and actually saying back to them, like, yes, I'm interested in this. I'm not 100% yet. And I'm going to have you do the work. You follow up with me. You make sure that this happens. You get back to me in 72 hours and I'll let you know if it still works for me.
Wow.
There's a little
That
play with that one now.
that that's a level up,
Yeah.
man. That
Yep.
is Maria 2.0. That is like, hey, I'm here for all of this, and
Hmm.
managing that, and like giving people jobs, like I things like that. That's pretty impressive. I really like that.
And the only way I learned that was because I had 900 things. That was when I was doing the coaching programs and I had teams of 75 people and I had 150 details a minute coming at me and
Woo.
150 participants in a course. I couldn't keep hold of all those details. And so I had to be like, yep, absolutely. And I can get back to you. And you need to follow up with me in 3 hours about this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
I
they
love
would.
that.
And it was great. They're like, hey, I'm back in 3 hours. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm ready for you now.
Yeah,
Like
and
it
that
was, yeah,
and that way you're not just immediately dismissive and being like, "No, I can't do this at all because it's
yeah,
too much. I'm overwhelmed."
exactly.
Right? And that way you're like, "Oh, this was a really good opportunity for me," or this was really something that I wanted to say yes to, but I didn't have the
Not in
headspace
the
and
moment. Right.
forethought. Yeah, in the moment. So
Totally.
I really love that. I think I need a pen to take notes during all of this.
Hey, we're going to have a transcript. You're going to have a
Yeah. Oh,
recording. The best part about being on the
hey,
podcast, you
I'll
can come
just
back and
rewatch it.
revisit it.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
So good. So this
Ah,
is perfect. So these are some of the things you've been learning and
absolutely.
that, I think this isn't as radical of a statement anymore as it once was, but I, for all 15, 16 years that I've been in practice, have said that every disease brings us gifts. I mean, every
100%.
circumstance does, right? And it can be hard to really deal with, like, how is cancer a gift? Although I think there's way more looking at it from this perspective. But when one of the things you've talked about is learning to receive and getting these new discoveries around the boundaries. But what are some of the other gifts this experience has brought to you and maybe even brought to your family?
Wow. Well, definitely, definitely. This has brought me to the forefront of life happens now.
Mm,
Like whatever you're worrying about in the past or whatever you might be haunted by with in the past, get it done and be done with it. Because right now is everything because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And it's the scariest feeling, but it's also like it's keeping me accountable and moving forward because all those things that I was waiting to do or, you know, putting off, like because I was too busy saying yes to everybody and running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Like, okay, so I'll be real. This is skeleton in the closet. And I have already talked with you about this a little bit, but my basement is insane. And and I seem so mundane and menial. Like, what is cancer about you? It brought me to clean my basement.
I think there's a lot of people relating to this statement, actually. We
It's so
literally
like
don't want to talk about what's down in our basement. I mean, literally and figuratively, like, don't look down there, don't deal with it. No, I think, yeah, but I get it.
it's like this is stuff that's not like I put it off and I put it off and it was like there's just boxes that I haven't touched or looked at in like 10 years and I'm like what am I waiting for? I can't leave this behind. Like if
Hmm.
something bad, if this turns sideways and I wasn't here, like I need to deal with this now and not leave it behind for that was like honestly like when I when I first got diagnosed, I think like after the shock wore off a minute, I started like just getting rid of stuff, getting rid of all the trash, all the extra clothes. I just started being like I have too much crap. What am I doing? I'm living in this like heap of ever like stuff, you know? And probably a lot of Americans and Westerners can relate to some degree, and most of the world probably at this point. But like that was one of the first actions. I started just looking around and looking at all the stuff in my world and my life that I just had was weighing me down. And I was like, this is it. I'm done with this stuff. I have to get rid of it. I have to get rid of it now. And make the space like and also what have I allowed to happen, you know, and how it affects our environment and how it affects like sometimes I'm so wrapped up in my personal bubble that I forget how this might affect my environment and how it affects me. And then not only that, my children and my family. And we're training each other to kind of just put up with not beautiful spaces and beauty. So that was a hard thing and I'm still working on that. I'm not complete with that. But I do want to say with that dance of that negativity and that darkness and that skeleton in your closet thing, on the other hand of it is that it's starting to help me recognize beauty more in day-to-day life. Like, because I'm like, beauty is important. Recognizing beauty. Like, I've been really, really, really into the sky lately. I don't know if it's the same where you live, but there's just some magnificent skyscapes that I'm like, is this real life? Is that a painting?
There was actually a sunset last night that was like electric. Like we had this weird
Yes.
storm came through, and then the way that this and I like there was like dark gray storm clouds still in the background, and then this one wispy thing, and it was like fluorescent orange, like literally electric. And I haven't seen a sunset like
Yes.
that in a while. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know this is sort of a thing too. Like, I've heard people talk about it anyway, but I'm seeing hearts and things, like I was in class, and there's a wood grain floor and it's all shiny. And I was like doing my pigeon pose in my class that I was teaching. And I'm like, there's a heart. And I told everybody, there's a heart. And so like, yeah, like I'm just finding the beauty more. And the more I let that little light come in of like little hearts, little beautiful things, little moments, like the door's getting bigger for that beauty to enter. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm not so busy to just walk right, because we can walk right past it. Like, we can walk right past these hearts. We can see it and like, oh, that kind of looks like a heart, and then just keep going. But like, if you don't stop and pause and have like gratitude for like what is happening, then what is it? It's just like a passing thing now.
And all
Like,
that running on automatic, and what we now know that does to our nervous system, and how it keeps all the cortisol and stress hormones in place, and all the things. Whereas, how many research articles do we need, as my dad would say, science proving what we've known all along with common sense, is like gratitude,
yeah.
appreciation, whatever word you want to use for it. Like for me, and I don't remember quite when this started, although it's been growing. It used to be I would look at the clock and I would see 12:34 all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I would text my
Interesting.
sister and I'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would text her at 12:34. Didn't matter what time zone I was in, what time zone she was in. I don't care. And then, all this stuff came up about angel numbers and numerology. 111, 11:11. I send all my newsletters at 11:11 Eastern time on Thursday mornings. Why?
I lo-
I don't know. They say that it's an angel portal to like parts of the universe telling you that you're on the right path. So if we're going to pick a random time, why would I send it 11? I'm going to send it 11:11, right?
yeah.
And then the crazy thing is, the more I've been paying attention to this, the more I see it. I see 222, 444, 555, all the time. And then it's like, okay, what meaning do I assign to that? Every time I catch one of those, it's like a little mini miracle. Like I paid attention in that moment when that 60 seconds of that possibility was there. The number of times I'll open my phone at 222, I'll go to text somebody and it'll be 1010. I mean, it's like it happens multiple times pretty much in my day every day now, but these are all these little moments where some part of me is like, I've got this, I'm on the right path, somebody's looking out
Hmm.
for me, the angels are
Yeah.
in my corner, the universe has
Yes.
got my back. Like it
Yes.
doesn't really matter what you assign it to. For me, I love all the angel numbers on clock times. Like that's just a thing. And I have friends where we literally like texting back and forth to each other. It's like random text messages at 3:33, and it like happens all the time.
Yeah.
It just adds something to the quality of your life, and it does. It has me stop, it has me pause, it has me appreciate something. It interrupts whatever status quo pattern I was in.
Well, it makes me feel like there's something really glorious happening, something really
Mm.
amazing in taking place, whether we want to admit it or not. Like, there is the whole system, the whole universe is connected, And these pieces, these puzzle pieces keep clicking in together for me more and more right now. And seeing these pieces connect is that gratitude, is this, how does that and that all happen at the same time and make this amazing chemistry of beauty that just appeared in art. And like it's like, that's crazy. It's like somebody's trying to talk to me. It's like somewhere something is communicating to me. And even like, even other things are weird for me. Like, I'm starting to recognize more. So like, I was just talking about this, like I just did a road trip with my one of my best friends, and we had a good 6 hours, and we were talking about how a lot of times people will say things and do things, but like their words don't match with what the vibe is happening. And I'm starting to see that more. Doesn't happen all the time, and a lot of times
Yeah.
it does align. But sometimes I'm seeing people say things, but then there's this energy that's completely not what they're
Completely
saying.
different. Yeah.
And I think that that's real. Like, I really believe that. I'm not, yeah, I always have an issue with like, am I trying to narrate this story? But often not. Like, my father, unfortunately, is dealing with Alzheimer's right now.
Mm.
And, sometimes I'm like, is he there? Like, recently it's just been getting worse and worse a little bit. And he's 86. He's amazing. He's actually a very big inspiration for me because he's fitness and full of energy and joy. He brings love to a room everywhere he goes. Everybody loves him. Everybody knows him. So he's a great inspiration. But for instance, of what I was saying, sometimes I feel like he'll get lost in his train of thought. And then I can sense, even though he's not saying it and has the words, I can sense that he's embarrassed, just simply. And I
Yeah.
believe that to be true. I believe that
Yeah.
there's my dad's still in there, and he's a little embarrassed and kind of ashamed that he can't pull his words together for me and like keep it straight for me, because he's suffering. He's having some main brain stuff, but he's inside that. He's inside the Alzheimer's brain having those issues, and he's still there and he's embarrassed. I can sense it
You
from
can
him.
feel it. And that's not a stretch. I mean, quantum mechanics is how we run our internet, our cell phone, our computers, our MRI machines, all sorts of things. But then as soon as we start to get into the quantum field, we're like, I don't know, I might be making this up. Well, we've been running on, I mean, we're having this podcast right now over Wi-Fi. And there's
Right.
a live feed sending it here. And there's a whole nother mechanism of technology recording this on our local devices and uploading it to some cloud, whatever the cloud. I mean, like, it is a miracle. I think it's Einstein, right, that said you either are going to live as everything in life is a miracle or nothing is. You don't get to split down the middle. And I think what we're speaking to is this flipping into the quantum, flipping into
Yes.
the miracle of it all, but that also is about a heightening our senses and being willing to be sensitive. So as you're getting sensitive to the beauty of the world and you're getting sensitive to seeing the hearts everywhere and you're getting sensitive to that, it also sensitizes us to each other. It sensitizes us to feeling that authenticity of, when our parents were upset about something and we were like, Mom, what's wrong? And they look at us and go, I'm fine, nothing's wrong. And you're, as a kid, you freaking knew. Your kids know when you're full of
Yep.
it, when
Yep.
you're like saying one thing out of the corner of your mouth, but your whole way of being and your emotional state is like saying something else. And actually,
Absolutely.
most of our communication is nonverbal. And there's body language, but it's even beyond body language. Like, Rupert Sheldrake, I think is the scientist name. He studies all kinds of psychic phenomenon. And one of the books that he wrote is a book on how people can tell when they're being looked at from behind. And I think the title of the book is How People Know They're Being Looked At from Behind. It's like that straightforward.
Literal. Yeah, yeah.
And he actually talks about how that in like the military or in private investigation services, this is something they're so aware of that they have worked on making sure the person they're surveilling can't feel them looking at them. Even
Yeah.
if they're like far away and across an entire courtyard or they're in a completely different place, because we can feel somebody looking at us from behind, from maybe even like 100 yards away. And so then we get into, okay, now you have a family member standing right in front of you. You damn right you can feel it.
Yeah.
Absolutely you can know
Yeah.
that. And to like open our hearts, and then vice versa. I think it's also, the more honest and truthful we are with ourselves and our own feelings, that heightens it. So it's like, I got to also be willing to own up to my shit. And I got to own up to being honest about my own self and what I'm feeling. And the more I'm straight with myself, the more I'm honest with myself, it then becomes a match in the world around us.
Exactly. So, two things that I think of: the mycelium and the network connections, and that we're all connected and we're all feeling each other first. And then second, I recently had an experience where I had too much THC. And the experience, and this is where it leads me, where you're talking about being straight with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because part of the issue with trusting your gut, this is an issue I always have, is I don't know if I can trust myself. I don't know if I can trust what myself is telling me. I'm like, am I, like, what is that called whenever you want something to, you want to believe something, like flat earthers or something? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you want to believe so badly in this thing, and I know there's a term for it, and it's just, you will come up with whatever reason you can, and so you're askew, and so I get insecure about that. So
Mm.
when it comes to my gut and things, I sometimes wonder, I'm like, am I creating that? And I feel like, back to my THC experience, I feel like, so when I had this experience, there were two things happening. One, I took way too much THC, and I was panicking because I was dealing with really a lot of THC, and I was seeing a lot of mandalas, and I was seeing a lot of fractals, and it was a bit overwhelming for me. So that was one part of it. The other part of it, some really beautiful, amazing things that were like, oh, that's what life's about. Oh, this is why I'm connected to this person. And I felt like I was so distracted by my anxiety and my fear that something was wrong with me in the moment and that I couldn't handle it, that I wasn't able to really fully get what I was really there for. And I feel like that's a sort of macro to the micro of just regular soberism when we're walking
Day-to-day
around.
life. Yep.
Yeah, like, that's like, if we're so wrapped up in our anxieties about whatever, we're not
How
going to
we
be
look and what
straight.
people think of us, and am I handling it all, and can I get it all done, and productivity and ticking all the
That's going to mess.
boxes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to mess with
totally.
our gut. It's going to mess with, am I reading this person right? You might get some peaks of like truth in there, but you might be askew because you're insecure or whatever, like you said, all those things. And so, as rough as that experience was, it taught me a lot about that. Like, I was disappointed in myself. Like, man, I thought I would be able to like get over anxiety like that. But I have a lot of work to do. And
Mm.
and being able to like overcome like these sort of like mundane things and know, like, it's okay. I'm going to be all right. I need to let that go so that I can focus on what's really important,
Yeah.
you know, the real
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in training still.
Yes, we all are.
Meditation every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's let's look there. What are the tools you've used? I mean, like, so just give us a little bit of the storyline. Like, how long ago you got diagnosed, what some of your treatments were. You just can kind of give us the high level so people get experience of it. But what I really want to get after that, then, and I'll follow back up, is like, what were the tools you used for yourself to get through this?
This is my favorite subject. This is why
Okay,
I'm here.
good.
This is
Okay,
why
good.
I'm
Yeah,
excited with my
let's do
message.
it.
So real quick to kind of, the book, the numbers. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background before my diagnosis, and this is to helpful for everyone. And this is a side note for everyone to advocate for yourself. I got a mammogram 2023 November, and November 15th, like mid-November, and there was some suspicious calcifications that were happening in my left breast. And but I'm heterogeneously dense, well, like most women my age in the 40s, and I also had small chest. So they were like, they're like, we'll see you in a month. That's a little suspicious, so we'll see you in a month. And everybody I talked to was like, oh, I always get a call back. It's no big deal. Nothing ever happens. And I'm young. I'm like 47. So I'm like, big deal. So I come back a month later, December 15th, and same story. Nothing's changed. There's nothing. I'm like feeling it all over. I'm like, is there a lump there? This is the first time I ever had a call back with my mammos. And I've been going my annual mammos pretty much every year. So I was pretty good about that. Uh, and like, again, I was like, there's just literally nothing there. I'm like massaging everything. There's nothing weird. And they said, you know what? We just think that that's just how your breasts are because you got calcifications everywhere, and we'll just see you next year, same time, same place. And I'm like, yay, you saved me from my anxiety. I'm healed. I'm fine. No problem. Well, likely story. I love, you want to hear this.
Yeah.
I knew somehow in the back of my head something was off, but like I
Mm.
wanted to hear that, and I was perfectly happy to accept that. So that was December, mid-December, right before the holidays. And January came and went, and then February came. Now, at the time, I was at the peak of my physical fitness journey in my life. I had read Peter Attia's book about becoming a centenarian and getting to the I wanted to be there. I was like 100% convinced that was me. I was doing 4 pull-ups a day. I was doing ice plunges every day, breaking ice. This was in the winter too. I was meditating every day. I was doing like 5 to 6 workouts of HIIT, 45 minutes every day, 50 minutes every day, yoga, dancing. Like I just felt like I was right in there. And so this was the last thing in my mind, right? And I'm in my 40s, and my mother never had it in her 40s, and her mother, they did get breast cancer, but they were in their 60s. So I'm like, it's not gonna happen to me. I'm super healthy. I don't drink, I don't smoke. And so then February came, and boom, there was a lump there, and it was painful, and it was like a fish, my mom called it, or a banana. It was a long thing. It wasn't a round lump, and it moved around, and I was very confused because everything on Google said it wouldn't be painful and it wouldn't move and all these things. So I'm like, it's not cancer.
Google
It's not, yeah,
diagnosis.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I
I
was like, it's
know.
not cancer. It's
Yeah.
just my muscles because of all my crazy workouts that I do. And so my amazing nurse practitioner, she helped me because I wrote her the day it happened, Rebecca Altman. And I love her. I felt very connected. I still go to her, and we're very connected. I feel like she understands me. And she just said, she's like, it's probably nothing. I was on my period, by the way, too. So that was another thing
Then you
that
can
was
have
like,
cystic breast changes with the
yeah,
hormones and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
totally.
it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yep.
Thankfully, she said, I wrote her the next day. I said, hey, I was just doing my job. I'm like, hey, I found this lump. And she was like, is that the same side that was they saw the calcifications in your mammo a couple months ago? And I said, huh, yeah, actually. And she said, well, probably still nothing, but let's just get a check. Let's get MRI. And I'm like, seems like a lot. It doesn't seem like I necessarily have to, but I'm going to take her advice. She's like, it's good to have the peace of mind. I'm like, peace of mind, great. You know? So she has her team set up an appointment for me. And wouldn't you know, this was February. They couldn't get an MRI till October.
Oh my God.
Yeah. If I had waited that long, we would have a
Oh my
very
God.
different story
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so she said, no, 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 no. She advocated for me, right? She advocated for me, and she said, no, no, no. We're gonna look around. We're gonna make this happen. And she got one for me through 3 weeks later, and I was like, good, great. So she saved my life. So I absolutely have told her, you saved my life, because I was in denial. I was in the space of like, it's never possible. I'm too young. I'm too healthy. It will never ever happen to me.
And you talked
And
earlier about advocating for yourself, but it's also really important to have those trustworthy team members around you and healthcare practitioners. I mean, I always say, really, finding a doctor should be like dating. You want good chemistry and you want good communication. You want to feel connected for situations like you're in whatever disassociation you're in whatever denial you're in. And to have her be like, yeah, no, really, for real, we're going to take this action and to like make sure to see it through. That's a huge deal.
yeah, yeah, and she's not even my PCP. She's a nurse practitioner, and but she's everything. And because of her, and my sister goes to her now, like everybody in my family's, because she advocated for me. She fought
Yeah.
for me, and she
Yeah.
saved my life. So anyway, so that MRI came and went, and of course that it all, you know, the rest of the story. I was diagnosed on April 16th with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. Stage 3 sounds really scary, and it was really scary. I was convinced I was right around the corner death's door. And but I found, and also this is something, if you are ever diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, do not Google. Do not Google. Number one rule, do not Google. It is out of date. The things they're doing with triple negative breast cancer are literally like, I just finished a chemo pill that was just approved by FDA 3 years ago. So like this stuff is ongoing. There's trials going on, and it's constantly getting better and better and better. So definitely if you end up getting the triple negative, bless you, and definitely don't Google it. Talk to your team, talk to your oncology team. So, stage 3 is not late stage, it's actually early stage with triple negative. Because guess what? I had no lump in December 15th, and then February 15th. I had stage 3 breast cancer, one lymph node involved. That's how aggressive and fast this cancer moved. If I had waited for that MRI in October, we would not be
Yeah.
talking the same way. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd be here. So anyway, so yes, allow that advocacy for you, especially ones that you are trusting and feel, you know, like they're there for you. That's important. Also advocate for yourself if you ever have any kind of nervousness, or, you know, get through with it. And one of my belly dance students, because I'm very public about my cancer journey, found it for herself, and she's in her 30s, and she never thought it could happen to her. But she's like, because of your story, I checked and I went, and here, lo and behold, and she's doing well, and everything looks really good for her. So I forget what the question was.
I love it. Good. The question was to give us a sense of your journey, like what the
Oh,
diagnosis was, how you went through that,
yeah.
and then what treatments you dealt with. And then we're all leading up to then what have been the tools you've used along the way through this journey. But I want to get a sense of like how long you were under treatment, what treatment you dealt with, like just give
Thank you.
people kind of the world you were living in.
Thanks for keeping me on track. I appreciate that.
Always.
I go
Always.
down those rabbit holes
Those
very
creative
easily.
squirrels are working their way. I get it.
So, yeah, so I got diagnosed on my mother's birthday. Yet another one of those puzzle pieces clicking together. Also, another realization to tie back to our puzzle piece clicking universe, mycelium connection network thing. I also realized, hey, guess what? I wasn't training to be a centenarian. I was training to fight cancer. That was a massive, massive, like, explosion in my mind. Like this is why I was fighting so hard for a year, like 6 straight years. It was before COVID started, and I don't know what, everyone was like, wow, Marie, you're on a roll. And I didn't realize why. In that moment I knew why. And so so those were those two major things. And so I was diagnosed on my mother's birthday, and then 3 days later I was hooked up with an amazing team, Dr. Amelia Diego. This woman is amazing, through UPMC at McGee. She's helped a lot of women. Not the breast year of my life, a great book written by, I'm having a brain fart of her name. She's a newscaster here in Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm forgetting her name, but I made friends with her. She wrote the book. She had triple negative as well. She had Dr. Amelia Diego as her her person to take care of her as well. And so she I went from thinking I was dying, literally, and a few days later meeting a doctor, this small woman that was just quiet and kind. And my sister came, my husband came, and she put wisteria, fresh blooming wisteria, in my hair while I was here to like talk about what was going to happen. And like my family, my support team, they were there with me, like just, and I could just smell the blooming wisteria the whole time we were talking. And it was just, yeah, that experience will not leave me. But she said, "Hey, we got this. Use your early stage. You're gonna be okay." And that was just this blanket, like that. She was my angel, like this blanket of relief. Okay, we have a hill ahead of us. We have a giant mountain we have to climb, but we can do it. And I've got a lot of prophylactic exercise and health that I have going for me. So I had to meet with my medical oncology team, and they told me that I was going to have a rough time because the stuff that they were giving me was all the guns, all the machines, all the things to get rid of this very aggressive breast cancer. And this very aggressive breast cancer responds really well to intense chemotherapy, really, really well. So they gave me the Keynote 522 regime, is what it's
Sounds
called.
fancy.
And this was super fancy. And this was the trials that they did that they found had the best response for triple negative. Most people that got pathological complete response at the end. So it included immunotherapy, Keytruda. That was a game changer that used to not be there, like I think 10 years ago, 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
they're fairly new. Most of them are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the full history, but it wasn't there for many people, unfortunately, and that was a game changer for a lot of people. And then I had 12 of the Taxol carboplatinum mix, which gives neuropathy a lot. After that, I completed that 12. I did 4 of the AC, adriamycin. I might be saying these a little wrong, but it is
I'm not up
referred.
on all of my chemotherapy drugs. There's a lot of words and a lot of syllables.
I'm
And
like,
yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is called by most of the cancer patients. This is called the Red Devil. This treatment is intense. This is the apparently I just heard this actually this weekend from another cancer breasty, as we call each other, that that this is you can only have AC, the Red Devil, twice in your life. That's
Mm.
it. You're done.
Yep.
And they come in, the nurses that come in with full like hazmat suits. And they have the red liquid in a syringe, a big syringe, and I still have my port right here,
Mm-hmm.
and they put it in, and they're actually going to remove that soon. I don't need it anymore, but they wanted it for blood work and stuff. It was just easier. But the red liquid goes directly into my port, and you pee red and your eyes turn a little bit red. It's creepy. Um, and that is the stuff that my medical team said, if you didn't lose your hair during Taxol carboplatin, you're going to lose it during the Red Devil. By the way, I called this the Red Warrior because I didn't like the Red Devil. I like the Red.
I like that. Nice. Good reframe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna henceforth or future forth, I don't know, we're gonna be calling it the Red Warrior.
Perfect.
Anyway, so yeah, I was like, these people in the hazmat suits with their liquid, and it's going right into me, and they're like, I can't even look, like you can't touch it. We're in masks and everything, and it's like, wow, wow, it's trippy. Anyway, and you have to chew ice a lot when you're doing it. It's supposed to help with it. I don't know why you have to chew ice. I think it's supposed to help with your nausea. There's different things, and then there's the cold capping. I did not do the cold capping, and I didn't lose all my hair. I was and I
I have
believe,
some explanations for that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yep.
So that after I finish that, I'll finish that, and then we'll go back to my tools. But after I finished that, I had a month break because they wanted to prep me for surgery. At that point, all the scans that they had checked, There was nothing. I came out clear. My tumor was, everything looked clear. It obliterated it. It worked. The chemo worked. And the immunotherapy, and I was still on immunotherapy for another 6 months, but it worked, and I was relieved. I was jumping for joy. So I came to my surgery date, October 24th, which is now my cancerversary. Every year, that's going to be my cancerversary, when I became cancer free. So I went in and my surgery happened, and we have some funny videos of me being loopy afterwards. And everything looked good. They were like, hey, yeah, we didn't find anything. Margins are clear. Everything looked great on the first look at it. We'll have the full pathology in a couple of weeks. Right. I had 4 drains hanging out of me that my husband was amazing, helped me drain those, and he helped bathe me. And that was probably the worst of my entire emotional experience up to that point. I was like, this is not me. I'm not supposed to be the one getting a sponge bath. Like, I shouldn't have,
Yeah.
me getting taken care of. That broke me. That really broke me down. I was crying. It was not moving and sitting still and being like laid out, it just, and there's drains hanging off of me. I just didn't feel like myself the most of all of the time. Even though I was
Mm.
losing my hair and I had all these other things going on, this was like the worst for me, my peak. And it's different for everybody, but that was me. Anyway, I got through all of that, and then 2 weeks later, I went in to get my pathology, and unfortunately, I did not have the pathological complete response that I was praying for. And that is the thing that all triple negative people want the most, is that full, complete pathological, because you have the best chance of it not coming back. And that's the thing about triple negative, is that it is high reoccurrence. It is a high reoccurrence. And so that was really devastating. That was like, set me in a tailspin of depression for a while, for like a week or two. It was rough because I really expected to not have that. And even they were shocked. My
Yeah.
team was shocked.
Yeah.
On a good note, and this is what helped me get through that depression and that disappointment, was that, first off, they did find, unfortunately, the cancer that was remaining in my lymph node that was originally infected. But the other 5, the lymph nodes they took out, were negative. But that one was the head of a pin. That's how much cancer was left in that little lymph node, was a 2.2 millimeter, tiniest little bit. So my residual cancer burden, they give you a score of like whatever's left. And mine was 1, which is the best number I could have got outside of pathological complete response. And so that was a good news. And the way I played it out in my mind and helped me feel better is, I'm getting bonus treatment. Because normally people that get PCR, pathological complete response, they're done,
They're
except for the
done. There's nothing
Keytruda.
else they're going to do. Yep.
There's nothing else. So
Yep.
if they hadn't caught that, then it would have been in there, right? And for me, I got to have 16 rounds of targeted radiation, which my radiologist was like, it doesn't even look like you were. He was like, how the heck did you respond so well to that? That's another point that we'll talk about later. And then on top of that, I had to take 6 months. This was hard to take because I'm like, I have to do more chemo. Are you kidding me?
Mm.
After all that.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it was the pills, Zolota, capabetazine. And so I took this Zolota pill. I just finished a month ago, like 3 weeks ago or so. And I had to take that every other day, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. And I just finished that. I'm completely done. So that was like bonus treatment. That was how I
Yeah.
got through that disappointment, was like, this is bonus treatment. This is to mop up anything that might be left. So my reoccurrence risk, according to the charts that I was given by my medical oncologist, is about a 15% chance of reoccurrence, which is really good. I think 10 is for PCR. And that's with the Zolota and the Keytruda that I went. And I didn't have to skip any treatments. I was able to do everything. I didn't have any side effects. Never. I went to the ER once because I was having like heart palpitations,
Mm-hmm.
and they checked me out and it was normal and it was nothing. But there was everything else. I was able to get through everything with flying colors. And my favorite story was when my nurse said, as far as response, Maria, this is the bottom and this is the top. You're up here,
Mm.
exactly at the tippity top. So I was very, very fortunate. My response was I accepted everything. I mean, I have a friend that just was diagnosed with triple negative. She was fortunately stage 1, which was great. So it didn't go into her lymph nodes and it was very small, but she had a terrible response to chemo. And your
Wow.
chemo is everything with triple negative. So she had gotten a worse stage. She might have had it would have been more scary for her because she couldn't take the chemo. She really couldn't take the chemo. And it's different for everyone. Every cancer is different. Every story is different. You know, you can't predict it. I mean, even my team was like, "You're great. You're going to get PCR." They were convinced. They were shocked that I didn't get it. And so I was too, unfortunately. But here I am, cancer free. And I got to ring the bell like 3 different times. And I'm like, anytime I can ring a bell, I'm going to ring it. I dressed up in my pink tutu and my combat boots and danced around, and I rang that thing as hard as I could all the
I love
time.
it. Yeah. Good.
So,
Good.
so that's the whole story up to
Yeah.
now,
Wow.
right?
Yep.
The tools you asked about. Um, and that's the story I'm moving forward with Maria 2.0, right? Maria 2.0 is the Maria after the cancer. And this is something that I have a little ember and I'm breathing some oxygen into it and spreading it out to the world. Exercise, exercise and movement. Yes, nutrition. Yes, health. I mean, alcohol is a type 1 carcinogen. It's proven. You know, processed meat, type 2 carcinogen. We can't be putting these in our body. Mocktails are big things. I'm so happy about that. I'm so
Yeah.
happy people are into the mocktails now
They're
because
everywhere, which is
seriously,
really awesome. Yeah.
it's really awesome. So this is I mean, I think it's okay to have it every once in a while. I'm not, I'm like really
Yeah.
strict,
Yeah.
but like, I just think that making it a lifestyle, I mean, so much of it is a lifestyle for some of us. It's like, really, you got to rethink that. This is not good. And like I'm like looking left and right at my 40-year-old friends, my 30-year-old friends. I'm like, dude, we got to change something. And so my big thing is my workouts, my movement, my dancing. So I'm a belly dancer. I'm a professional belly dancer. I just got back from an amazing workshops intensive with a bunch of different people in Michigan. I love dancing. That's
I was
something I've
I
been doing.
spying your Facebook and watching the videos and everything. And you guys looked amazing. You looked
It
so
was
good.
so, I'm so blessed to have the
The music was
creativity.
incredible.
Oh, so much fun. Like we're not just traditional belly dancers, we're fusion belly dancers. So we're creating creatures. We're creating fae and elven and we're not just we're creative. We're creative and that's a big part of it. And I'm also an artist and I've been really pulling and sketching and all of that, connecting with that creative genius inside of me and reopening that, putting the time to that. I'm like, it's really making me feel alive, and it's healing me. It's healing me. And I'm like, I'm sorry if I'm like really smiling a lot, but like just thinking about it, I feel like I'm getting like this like holy light that's just coming through like a skylight into my soul. Like it's just giving me so much energy and love and like and passion and living in the moment, that beauty that we were talking about, like just letting it absorb me and get me everywhere in the cellular level, and so I danced through all my chemo treatments. I was hooked up to my machines, and I have if you go to my Instagram page, I'm dancing with the cords hanging off of me because they would have people come with guitars and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm dancing.
I love it.
And so I was doing that. The art got me through actually the surgery a lot because I was forced to sit still. So that was really great that I had the art. But working out, that prophylactic workout, there are studies that are coming out more and more now showing that right now, I just went personal trainer that I go to at Hillman Cancer Center here in Pittsburgh, PA. They have an integrative oncology department. And Ray, I love you, Ray. Shout out to Ray. I love him and his man bun. He's great. And he gives me the workouts because There are studies, and he sends me all sorts of great information about this too, that show that it reduces your cancer risk by up to like 30, between 20 and 40, somewhere around there percent, if you do 150 minutes a week. That's minimum. Minimum. You need to meet those things. Move. People, move. And I would like to get into this personal training myself. And I want to get certified. So that's going to be Maria 2.0. I want to breathe life into that oxygen. I'm telling the world now, I
So
want to
good.
do that because it helped me not lose my hair, get through the chemo, all of that.
I do not have all the research and all the details behind it, but I've also been getting more and more information on the science side of we actually need to think about our muscles as an organ. We don't tend to think of them that way. We think of them as just the part of our body that moves us around. And sure, if you work out, you'll look better, but like, what's the big difference? Okay, now we say like you need overall muscle mass for a certain amount of resilience. It helps during menopause. It helps. Okay, sure. But we like haven't really connected the dots that your muscles are an organ, just like your liver, just like your stomach, just like your brain, just like your kidneys. And when they're optimized, they are an antioxidant producing machine. They are an anti inflammatory. You don't need Tylenol. You don't need ibuprofen. You have your muscles. Your muscles literally are secreting things and producing chemicals that are antioxidant and anti inflammatory. And a big chunk of cancer is an inflammation process. And dealing with the chemotherapy, which is designed to be cytotoxic, to kill cells, but then you need the rest of your immune system and these kind of components from your muscles to protect the rest of you. So why your hair didn't fall out, why you were able to do as well, why you actually had radiation literally on your skin, but it doesn't look like. And this is apples and kumquats. But when I got my tattoo, like full one hole down the side of me, my tattoo artist was floored because he's like, nobody's tattoo looks that good walking out of the studio. Normally they're puffy and bleeding and inflamed. I'm like, I'm not inflamed. My body has less inflammation in it. So I go get a tattoo and it looks great immediately, And so that's a tiny fraction, but you're not wrong. It's a huge deal. And it's not just physical strength and balance prevention, which all of that is important, but there's actually tapping into, you could have a anti-inflammatory pump inside your body 24/7. And what do we deal with heart disease?
And your
It's
bunny. Sorry.
inflammation. Yes, and your body, all those things. Everything in your bunny, booty, body, all of it. Every
Yeah.
single part of it.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
totally. No, I'm right there with you. It's a
Yeah.
huge deal. And then there's all sorts of stuff it does for our hormones and supporting our thyroid to have the fire stoked and like all those parts and pieces. And like you said, there's a bare minimum there, which honestly, really, I mean, I got to do the math on 150 minutes over 7 days, but it's not a lot
No, I think
ultimately.
it's about, I did the math. It's about 30. Well, for me, it's like, I think it's like 30 minutes a day for 5 days or something like that. And it's moderate.
Right.
So
Right.
it hitting the zone 2. So zone 2 is like, you can still, and granted, I think a lot of these studies were done on mostly cardiovascular, not so
Right.
much the
They
weight. So I'm
haven't,
waiting
yeah.
for them to do more of that stuff. I want to see that because I'm really into weights. I don't really like cardio very much, but I still do it. I still do it. Um, but yeah, it's that zone 2 where you're still able to hold a conversation with somebody,
Yes.
but like if you
But
get
you're
past
feeling
that,
it. The heart
but
rate's
you're
up a
feel
little bit. There's a little bit of a
yeah,
sweat, but you can be talking on. I mean, I do a lot of talking on the phone and walking my dog, but like we are
yeah,
on a hill here. And so I'm going
yeah.
up and down the hill and I'm feeling it and hearing it. And I can like be chit chatting with somebody, but also I'm a little like you can kind of you can feel into those spaces. And then I do also think that the weightlifting has its own components that are super helpful as well. So it's a both and. Yeah.
Yep, and I've heard that, like, because I think there were some studies done in Australia that we're adding the weights a little bit more. They don't have enough of them. I feel like they need to get up on that. But I do believe because a lot of bone density issues,
Big
because
time.
when you're going through chemo, your bone density and it's bad,
And
and so you
protein loss
really
is a huge
and
deal. And so
yeah.
whatever level you're starting at, and we're talking about cancer, but it's true for any surgery, any major incident, heart attacks, the health, it's funny to say how healthy you were when you had a heart attack, but there's a whole world of like, it's not head to toe, your whole body's in dysfunction. And if your muscles are strong and your cardiovascular system is relatively strong in terms of fitness, then if you do have a myocardial infarction, if you do have a stroke, if you do have a fracture, if you do need a hip replacement, if you do need any of these kinds of things, all of that, like you said, prophylactic exercise is building up. It's, the other thing I say all the time is you want to put deposits in your health bank account. And if you
Yeah.
have a huge built up health bank account that's sleep, nutrition, hydration, exercise, and movement, relationship well-being, joy, pursuit of things that you love, creativity, which you talked about, there's all these different ways for us to put deposits in our health bank account, then we can deal more with major withdrawals like the Red Warrior.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, here's the thing, like if you're lucky, let's be real. If you're lucky, you can get through life without a major disease. But most of us are going to get
Yeah.
something
Something.
at some point. If you're, I mean, seriously, how many people do you know?
Who've never.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always a cancer. There's always a
Yeah.
diabetes. There's always, Alzheimer's. I mean, what are the lists? You know, I mean, those things are going to happen most likely to you.
And
And
even
that's
if
the
we go
hard
through
truth.
other things that is just we tend to forget is like you're actually born with a full set of organs for a reason and you're supposed to have all of them. And how many people they've had an appendix out, I've had my tonsils out, they've had the gallbladder out, they've had like a hysterectomy, partial or total, right? Like how many people do you know where they're not walking around with a full set? So right there's already something, there's a little kink in the armor, there's a little something going on. When I used to do a lot of talks back in the day when we met in person, um, I would actually do this conversation about we need a new normal. And I would say, okay, for health privacy, how many people it's you or someone you know who's had an organ removed? Put your hand up and leave it up. And then how many
Right.
people you or somebody you know has had major surgery? And then how many you or somebody you know has been on a pharmaceutical longer than a year, long-term chronic use? And at that point, everybody's hand in the room is up. And
I mean,
that's
my
what we
hand was
call
up for
normal
all of them.
for all of them, right?
Yeah. And I'm like healthy. Like I'm
Yeah.
like everybody, like when I got cancer, people are like, you're the healthiest person I know. Like if you got cancer, we're doomed. No, just like but I really think that like no time is better than now. Get moving. Watch what you eat. Get pasture raised eggs. Support the farmers. Get real food, grass fed food. Like
I did not pay her to say all of that, by the way. She just happens to be landing up. This is all my chance on this podcast all the time.
oh,
But
it's
no,
my
it is.
mantra for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And like this is what's going to help us and it's going to teach our children because I have two children and I want them to learn this because I grew up I'm going to be 49 in a couple weeks. September 16th my birthday. And so I grew up in like the 80s and stuff and like the crap, the pudding pops and the white bread. Fortunately, my mom was a hippie mom and she was grinding her own wheat and stuff. And all my friends in my suburban neighborhood were like, that's the weirdo
I had
hippie
one of those. She
family.
was literally making her own soy milk. Like we got soybeans and my mom made our soy milk from scratch. Like she
And
had the
they,
cheesecloth and she was hanging it in the
wow,
bags and the whole
right.
thing. Yeah, totally.
Well, hey, I mean, like minds, like mothers, I
I
guess,
know.
right?
Totally. There's a reason we hang out.
Yeah, exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep. Good. Oh, Maria. Okay, we're actually going to start to bring this to a close here. I know there's so much more. I know. I know. But I feel like you've actually already answered this, but I'm going to ask it to you anyways. What is your like here you have 60 seconds to shout out to the world. This is what I want people to get. What do you want to leave them with?
Love. Radical fucking love.
Amen. Preach it, sister.
I've reached it. I've reached
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because guess what? All this bullshit in the world, all this us against them, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. And that mycelium we talked about, that network, we're separating more and more and more with AI, with all this stuff. And we need more connection than ever now. There's like a spiritual warfare going on, man. Like we need to connect and we need to love one another. And that's it.
Most powerful force of healing on the planet is love.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes
Yeah.
down to.
I'm
Absolutely.
such a hippie.
Oh, good. Oh, babe. Thank you for this. You're such a gift. You're such a
You're
gift.
oh, okay. Okay, received. I'm
Good,
worthy.
good,
I am
good.
worthy. Guess
Yeah.
what? Guess what? You're a freaking babies. You are a gift. You, my friend. I'm so glad to know you. I'm so glad to know you.
It's a total joy. Pleasure is
Cannot do
very
it.
mutual. I
Or
love
this,
it.
the big
That's
one.
right. We're on video now, so we can do this. Do, 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 do. Oh my God. Thank you so, so,
Thank
so,
you.
so much. This is going to be a huge contribution. We just get to keep giving and receiving. We get to receive the
Giving.
love and we get to keep giving. It is yeah, we get to live inside this miracle together. Okay.
I like
Until
that.
we get to do it again, babe.
I
So much
love
love
it.
to you.
So much love to you too.
Thank you for being here. This conversation is your invitation to remember that healing can be messy, hard work, and also beautiful. Stay connected. Join my newsletter at sarahmarshallnd.com or through the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep asking the questions that matter, and you will find your own path to healing. And of course, a special thanks to my extraordinary and generous guests, my producer, Joshua Watherston, video editing by Nellie Dawson, artistic graphical design by Amy Pruitt, and music by Roddy Nikpour. And as always, thank you for being here.